welcome to this month's episode of Senior Travel Adventures. Thank you, as always, for joining me. This episode will finish up Africa with Lisa Watson, part 3. She's going to talk about Zanzibar, but she's also going to talk about some considerations if you want to go to Africa and what you might want to consider. So, some very helpful advice. And then we'll go over my new newsletter. So you know how to find it, what I cover, and all the fun things that go along with that. And a little snippet from my trek on the Camino. So stay tuned.
I look forward to continuing our conversations about my trip to Kenya.
If you're thinking about going to Africa, what are the things you should do to think about what kind of trip you would ask to take or consider taking? What is there some?
Well, number one is your budget, right?
Yeah.
Because depending on what quality of living you want when you get to Africa, you need to know your budget, because these tours can range from $60,000 down to $6,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly true. And I'm thinking true that people might want to like, what is it that you want to see? What are the activities that you want to do? Do you want the wildebeest migration? Do you want to see the gorillas? Do you want to see the elephants? Because when in our previous segments with you, we talked about the elephant sanctuary and some of those other things. So what is it, that somebody might want to make sure they know what they want to do, before they go.
Exactly. So
so they
that's
can
important. And if they want to do the wildebeest migration, they have two choices to make. Do you want to see the wildebeest crossing the river, coming into the Maasai from the Serengeti, or do you want to see the wildebeests after they get there? Because all of that affects your timing.
Right.
The other thing people have to think about when they're coming to Africa is what temperatures they want, and do some research on the places you're going and the average temperatures there over the course of the year, so that you know what month you want to go when the temperatures are something that's not too hot for you, right?
Right.
Not a rainy season or anything like that.
Right. And that's true. There are seasonal parts of that people should be very aware of, because you certainly don't want to go when it's raining every single day, because that's not going to make for a very nice trip overall. Well, I loved this whole segment, these 3 segments that we did, because I think that a lot of people are interested in this type of travel. These are kind of bucket list trips, I think, for some people. I'm still on the fence myself. I'm not going to fib about that, because I don't know if I can handle the animal thing. Of the animals' nature. I don't want to see nature in real time. I guess that's what it is. And I know that's part of life, but I'm on the fence. But you make it sound so wonderful. It makes me like, okay, well, maybe I can get by all of that, and still go. So, Lisa, if I don't want to go to the safari, I understand that there's a wonderful place in Africa called Zanzibar. What can you tell me a little bit about that? Because that's a different experience, right?
Yeah. So Zanzibar for me was a 1-week extension after our Kenya safaris ended. It's an island off the coast of Tanzania, and it's part of Tanzania. And we went there for a week at an all-inclusive resort called the One Resort that's right on the beach, right on the water. And we spent a week there exploring the island of Zanzibar. And it's a pretty small island. Like in several hours, you can explore the whole island.
So basically, people go there as a resort, like vacation type of thing. It's not, it's a different experience than obviously the dusty ride in the Jeep, right?
Yeah.
So was it more just to like enjoy it? Did you take tours during the day, or just the one tour because it's small?
Yeah. No, we did do some day excursions while we were there, because there's a lot of different things to see in Zanzibar. They have a downtown area called Stone Town that we went to, and Freddie Mercury's home is there. So we went and did that. We did a lot of the art galleries and looking at, they have a style of painting that they do in Tanzania called a tinga tinga painting. And we
Hmm.
did a lot of looking at Tinga Tinga paintings because my roommate was buying a couple to bring back home. So we did a lot of art galleries. We did one animal excursion. One day we went to a place called Jozani Forest, where we went in, and it's a walk through their forest that they've built. And then you come across the red colobus monkeys that live there. And they're in the wild and they roam free. But I sat down on the grass and they didn't shy away from me at all. They were all around me while I was sitting there with these monkeys. And I even managed to pet a couple of them without getting bitten.
Oh, that's
That
good.
was a lot of fun.
I, I have seen some pictures on social media of people waking up in their rooms with the monkeys in their rooms. I don't know if that's in there, but okay. I know that does happen at some places. So would you say that Zanzibar would be a standalone trip, or would you say that it should be an extension or a beginning of another trip?
Be both, right?
Mm.
In a sense, it's just as good as going to a Caribbean all inclusive for a week if you were going to go to Dominican Republic or Cuba or something like that. The difference with Zanzibar is the beach itself is very different than what we've seen at home, because when you wake up in the morning, the sea comes all the way up to the wall of the resort. But when the tide goes out, it goes out a mile, like it's so far out. And what's left in the bottom of the sea is not just sand. So it's not like you can walk around and play in the sand beach. It's
Oh,
corals and stuff like that. But there's starfish and seashells and things like that that get stranded as the tide goes out. So it makes for a really fun walk, although you have to have water shoes on your feet to make the walk, to roam around and look and see all the different animal life that's in there as the tide has gone out and they got caught in these little pools of water along the beach. So it's not like imagining walking for miles on a sand beach at all, right? There is
okay.
a sand beach, but it's, 20 feet of sand beach before you hit all of these corals.
Well, that's cool though. So for people who like that, because I'm into shells and coral and things that wash up, in California, we like our beaches. Um, but that's a different experience, right? I mean, there are times of the year where you can walk on our California beaches and in certain areas where they'll be covered with shells or driftwood or things like that. So that sounds super fun to me to go somewhere like that. I'm not gonna say much about though that I think if I did go to Zanzibar, I would want to go to other places, like to visit in Africa, so that I was there for one long. I wouldn't just fly there for a week. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I thought too. While I was there, I'm thinking people should be coming here instead of going to the Caribbean if they're looking for something different. But of course, the catch is it's such a long flight to get there and such an expense to get there that you don't want to stay for 7 days when you're going, right?
Well, yeah, and for you, I mean, I'm on the West Coast. My viewers are all over. You're more on what we call the East Coast where you live in Canada. So, I mean, it was even a pretty long trip for you to get home, as I recall. Um, so it's just you have to be committed to that to want to see those things while you're gone. I'm the one who always tries to put as many things together in one long flight as I can because
Yeah.
I don't like those. Those long flights are wearing me out these days. So,
My
um,
flights home were a 4 hour flight and then a stop in Addis Ababa and then a 16-hour flight to Toronto.
You need to be good with logistics. If you're going to do it, either use a travel advisor if you're not sure, and let them help you work out all the logistics because I'm pretty good with that. But I'm going to tell you, my current upcoming trip, it was logistically a lot of work, and I'm good at it. So, I mean, it would be nice to just pick up the phone and say, "Hey, can you get me from point A to point B?" and have
Well,
someone do
and
that for
and
me.
one thing to note with flights to Zanzibar, the Zanzibar airport is famous for canceling flights, postponing flights, and flights running late. So you can never bank on when your Zanzibar flight says it's going to leave. You need to be prepared for 2 to 6 hours worth of delays and a plane switch or two.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, that's something I understand that in some places in Africa, like that even happens with hotels and things that they have their own way of doing things. So all right. Well, we hope that the audience has enjoyed Lisa's journey through Africa and all the pictures. She takes lovely pictures, as you've seen, and videos of all of her experiences. I follow Lisa on Facebook, and she does post quite a few pictures on Facebook. So, anyway, again, Lisa, thank you so much for your time today. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. And y'all know that I don't sell anything on, or try not to sell anything on the show, but Lisa does a great job if you do need help planning a trip. So everybody take care and stay tuned.
Thanks, Debbie.
Yeah. Well, hello and welcome back to Senior Travel Adventures. I wanted to make sure that you, as my audience, were familiar with all of the different things that I produce as a travel content creator beyond this show, in case you weren't aware. So I thought we might take a little trip on my website and see what I have to offer here. The homepage has two things. It's about me and it has my media kit. So if there's any companies out there that are listening and want to collaborate with me, you can find all the information on my media kit. But about me, how did I get here? Well, here's just a little bit about how I got here. I was in the corporate world, and during COVID, my job got eliminated. And so I decided it was time to go travel. I have a husband who has decided his traveling days are done, which works out for us. And I travel solo as independently as I can and share all of that with you as a way to educate, encourage, and empower you that it is possible to go and see the world no matter what your age is. So, under my News You Can Use tab, I have three things. I have newsletters, I have magazine articles that have been published, I have videos. The newsletters is new. I just started publishing a newsletter in September. So, here's my October newsletter. And here is my September newsletter. Now you see that they look different. That's because I'm using Substack to publish my newsletters and email them. So if you sign up for my email list, you will get the newsletter automatically when it's produced each month, which is what I recommend. And we'll add the information on how you can sign up for the newsletter at the end of the show or on the screen so that you can do it right now and not forget. But in October, I talked about my Camino, I talked about my show, I talked about considerations for taking a trip. So, thinking about if you haven't planned for the rest of the year, maybe go to Europe or chase the sun or any of those things. I also added a few travel tips for solo travelers, which I constantly talk about. I mentioned the sip of the season. So I talk about a white wine and a red wine. I also talk about adventure in the oven because when I went to Italy, I learned how to make focaccia, and I thought I'd share a recipe with you during the episode here. I talked about the sad passing of Jane Goodall, but she was wonderful and she did so much for the world and was a trailblazer. And then I asked for some help, asking you to perhaps go to my Instagram page and start following it. I've had a hard time getting Instagram followers. And when I go out and I talk to companies about seeing their destination, they're asking me how many Instagram followers I have. And it's really embarrassing that I have such a few number because I have so many viewers of the show. So if you do have Instagram, please go to Senior Travel Adventures and click that follow button. As far as taking a trip, that's something new I added recently as well. I wanted to share destinations or trips that I think are of value or that I'm interested in, because I think if I'm interested in, maybe other people are interested. So, for example, there's a Danube River cruise for Christmas markets in 2026, and that information is here. I'm already booked to, and I will be on that trip, and I'm very excited about that. And then Amsterdam is going to be a tulip time cruise all the way in 2027. But because those cruises, river cruises, sell out rapidly, we wanted to share that with you, the travel agent that I set this up with. So I'm sharing her information and trips, and I'll be adding new trips and taking away trips as they happen. I also am now sharing destination stories, not just my stories, but stories from others. So if you have a story you'd like to share about one of your trips, please reach out to me. I'm always looking for new content and for new stories. But there's one here about Turkey from a gentleman named Eric Garrity, who has appeared on my show previously. A little bit about Tuscany. Of course, I did full episodes on Tuscany, and then Iceland and Amsterdam. And I'll be adding more information to these as I am able to share the stories of others. So, again, if you have any stories you'd like to share, I hope that you'll email me and give me a brief synopsis of what you'd like to talk about, and I'll reach out. So that's what's under destination stories. Under travel items, these are vetted items that I have used in my own travels. Now, I am an Amazon affiliate. If you do click on any of my links and buy a qualifying purchase, I may make some money off of it, but I will tell you that in all of 2024, I made a grand total of $15. And so it's not a moneymaker for me. It's just that I want you to get products that have been used and work. There's so many things to pick from on Amazon. Isn't it nice to have somebody who's actually used them and is recommending them? So that's my purpose for having this page. As far as partner sites, I'm in the process of building this up, but I only share people or services that I know, trust, and use. Okay. I might make a financial incentive, or I might not. Probably I'm not. Mostly I just do this again because I want you to be secure in who you buy from or trust who you work with. So my trusted travel advisors right now, there are two: Global Adventures with Lisa Watson and My Senior Travel Buddies. I'm very familiar with both of them and have good recommendations for using them. As I use or learn of others, I may add more, but right now, that's what's there. Camino, if you have any interest in doing any version of the Camino de Santiago, and there's 7 different routes that you can take. If that's of interest to you at all, Camino Ways was great to work with so far. So I recommend them. I also recommend Greet Her. Greet Her is like hiring a local bestie. Lovely person. Vanessa started Greet Her. I used them in Montreal. I'm using them again in Marrakesh. It's just a great way to get the lay of the land from somebody who lives there and is trustworthy. So I urge you, if you're interested in something like that and you're going as a solo or with a friend to somewhere you've never been, this is a good place to try out. And then I've got a couple other travel blogs and travel sites. Education will lead you back to Let's Talk Tech, which is my technology show I've had on for 5 years. I have shared a lot of wonderful information. It's on Village Television's YouTube channel for the most part. I do have my own YouTube, but I haven't loaded all of the content there. My education, if I have any tips for travel, they would all be here. And then my privacy policy. If you visit my site and sign up for my newsletter, I honor and respect your privacy, and your information will never be sold or shared without your permission. And in fact, even with your permission, I have no intention of ever sharing any of your data with anyone. Welcome to the next segment of Senior Travel Adventures, and one that's very near and dear to my heart, my own Camino de Santiago pilgrimage that I recently took. I'm actually in a hotel room in Fez, Morocco, as I film this for the second part of that adventure. But let's go back to the Santiago de Compostela and that experience on the Camino. So I had a wonderful time. It was sometimes rainy, sometimes windy, but the best part was meeting so many wonderful people along the trail. I met a woman from Melbourne, Australia, Kimberly. I met brothers from London, Darren and Casper. And I also met a wonderful woman in her early 70s who completed 64 days. She started in Saint-Jean-Pied in France, which is the original starting point of the Camino Francis, and she walked 500 miles. Yes, I met her in the last few days of her journey, and I was very honored to be able to actually finish with her at the cathedral, and we were able to celebrate. So it was something that I can't really put a lot into words at the moment because I'm just still processing. So in my next episode, I will do a thorough description of the experience. But in the meantime, I wanted to share these pictures with you. So please enjoy. As I finished day 3 in the rain, I arrived at my albergue in Ventis de Noran and rewarded myself with some vino. This dog laid at our door all night to protect us, and in the morning on day 4, I got up to start my journey to Palais del Rey, where I would be spending my next night. Here are some scenes as I ventured through in the rainy countryside. As you can see, it was quite wet. I did stop for some coffee and a crepe, and then continued to my accommodation here in Palais del Rey. We are at the start of day 5 in the town of Palos de Rey. Today I'm headed towards Melide, Spain. It's close to 15K today. You can see there's the directional sign. The signage has been very, very good as I have walked so far, and this has been really a very interesting experience, and I'm excited that I get to share it all with you. And here's a great pilgrim statue. How cool is that? Let me get that one. The pilgrims are celebrating. Just the beauty of the countryside is so spectacular. The cows, just all the trees, the buildings, the rocks, just beautiful. So I am on day 7 of the Camino. I started about 9 a.m. when the sun came up, but I have only seen a handful of other pilgrims and a small white and orange kitty cat who was very friendly. So we spent a bit of time together, of course. I am having some serious knee issues. Today is supposed to be a 10K day, so I can take it easy. And then I'll have just 10K to go tomorrow to finish at the cathedral, which is a good thing. So anyway, everyone have a great day and Buen Camino. Well, that's it for another month of Senior Travel Adventures, and I hope you enjoyed part 3 with Lisa, learning about my website and all the content that I create, and most importantly, my visit to Spain and my experience with the Camino in picture form. So, as always, life is short. We should always try to take the trip, and I'm here to encourage and empower you all right now to think about where you want to see next in the world.